Alright guys, welcome back to the channel where today we're going to be talking about the Inflation Reduction Act, mainly focusing on the electric vehicle component here. Because I've seen all kinds of articles. Some articles saying that this is a big win for electric vehicles, some articles saying that this will make your next vehicle electric for sure. And then I've also seen doom and gloom articles where it says that no vehicles will qualify. So let's take a look at what is changed from the old credit to the new credit. So as we know, there's an old EV credit where the manufacturers get 200,000 vehicles where they can get the full $7,500 credit. And then once they've manufactured and sold 200,000 electric vehicles, then the credit is cut in half for 6 months. And then after the 6 months are over, the credit gets cut in half again. And they get to use that credit again for 6 more months until it just expires for that manufacturer. So we know that Toyota, Tesla, and GM have all used up all of their old EV tax credits. So this new bill comes in and is actually going to give this tax credit back to these companies, but there's so many conditions. So the new EV tax credit starts by saying that um, you'll get $7,500 for new cars, but only for individuals who make less than $150,000 and $300,000 for joint filers. And then there's additional fine print saying that if it's a sedan, the car must cost less than $55,000. And then for SUVs and trucks, it has to be less than $80,000. And also, cars that have batteries made with minerals from foreign entities of concern are excluded. That means if the battery minerals come from Russia or China, that's it. That car does not get the $7,500 credit. Also, the car has to be assembled. The final assembly must be done in the US. And that provision actually goes into effect right away when the bill is passed. So what makes this bill slightly confusing is that there's lots of requirements that actually go into effect next year. So in 2023, the final assembly must be in the US, and 40% of the battery minerals have to be extracted or processed in the US or a country where the US has a free trade agreement. So we'll put a list of the free trade agreement countries on the screen, and also 50% of battery components, meaning the percentage of the value of the components that are in the battery, have to be manufactured or assembled in North America. That means US, Mexico, and Canada. And then those percentages change and increase all the way up till 2029, where the components portion rises to 100%, which means 100% of the value of the components used in the battery have to be manufactured or assembled in North America, which is actually a very difficult thing for many manufacturers right now. Which is why you might see a lot of manufacturers complaining, saying that their cars won't qualify. Now, what might be concerning to people who are following the EV market is that there are very few battery factories in the US. We have Tesla with Panasonic, we have a single LG factory in Michigan, and then Nissan makes their batteries with AESC for the Nissan Leaf. So the Department of Energy has come out with a list already of the cars that qualify in 2022. And these go from certain Audis, just this one Audi, a couple of BMWs, a list of Chevy and GM cars, and then plus the Teslas. And then surprisingly, we even see Rivian and Volvo on this list. Now, you might be looking at this chart and be like, what is going on here because of the manufacturer sales cap met? So the manufacturer sales cap is the 200,000 vehicles from the previous old bill. And unfortunately, that doesn't get removed until January 1st, 2023. So Tesla doesn't get their credit back until next year. And on this list, even more confusingly, the Model S and X are both on the list. And the S is a sedan that is well over $55,000, so that wouldn't qualify next year at all. and same with the X. So at least most trims of that, I'm pretty sure, won't qualify. So in addition to that, the battery components portion of the bill has not applied to this list yet, which is why the Rivian is still on the list. Next year, when that portion kicks in, Rivian gets kicked off the list because their batteries are manufactured in China. So this list will be very fluid over the next few months as manufacturers try to get their batteries and stuff sourced in the US, or they just simply get kicked off the list because they just cannot qualify. And another thing that changed is that people who are buying a used EV, which is sold by a dealer, you can actually get a $4,000 credit on that for individuals who make less than $75,000 or joint filers who make less than $150,000. So that actually start helping the used EV market a little bit for the slightly cheaper or older electric vehicles, because the car is capped at $25,000 for this credit. And then people who are going to use this credit can only take this credit every 3 years. So there's no churning of this credit where you just go buy used cars over and over again just to get this credit and then reselling them. So as consumers, we might not like this bill very much because the Teslas are essentially excluded if you want the self-driving feature on any of them, unless Tesla decides to reduce the price. And also it prices out many vehicles that are very exciting and hot right now, such as the Kia EV6 and the Hyundai Ioniq 5, because those are all manufactured in other countries. And also, like, Polestar is excluded from this. Also, many electric vehicles manufactured in Europe. But what's exciting about this is that while in the short run it might put a bit of a damper on these EV sales, maybe not even, because those cars are so hot and people just want those cars right now. If it does put a little damper on it, it will be quite temporary, because this will actually help bring manufacturing home to the US. Because right now, a lot of the battery components and batteries are actually completely manufactured in China. And we're really losing the technology to China as they ramp up and build more of the batteries and make more of the money and make more of the technology advances. So we do need this here, and that's what this bill kind of aims to do. But there's one company that really starts to benefit from this immediately, and that's Tesla. Because Tesla could easily probably lower their prices to meet the threshold for the sedan, and also for the SUV if the Model Y is classified as an SUV next year. And we also see in the news that California is going to be enacting a gas car ban by 2035. And there are actually a lot of states that follow California with their Air Resources Board's recommendations and regulations, such as New York, I think Massachusetts, Oregon, and Washington State. Maryland sometimes follows it. We'll see if the next governor allows us to follow that regulation. But if all of that goes through, then all of these states will actually be banning gas vehicles by 2035. And because Tesla is essentially one of the few manufacturers or large manufacturers of batteries in the United States, they'll be able to push their cars out and gain even more market share because they have this $7,500 credit. And then there's also, you can also see that there are lots of battery factories being announced in the US, from Ford to Ford combined with SK Innovation, a Korean company. Also LG Chem building new factories, and Toyota building factories, and Volkswagen bringing new factories. So this is all good news for lower cost EVs in the future. So let us know what you think about the new EV credit. Let us know if you think you'll be purchasing a new electric vehicle because of this credit, or if you're just going to wait to see what new electric vehicles start to qualify for this credit in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe and like the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.